everyone, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to build a professional website for a client that focuses entirely on business functionality, turning visitors into customers and managing them throughout the entire journey. We'll be creating a coaching business website that captures leads, nurtures them automatically, and manages the entire customer lifecycle. This goes beyond design to focus on the business systems that actually generate revenue. In fact, here's what we will cover: website builders in CMS, AI website builders, designing websites that convert leads, booking and scheduling automation, payment processing and subscriptions, performance analytics and reporting, wireframe for websites, website design templates, and website custom code. This is perfect for anyone who wants their website to be a complete business growth machine. We will be using Wix Studio for this, so if you want to take this to the next level and add custom functionality with code, I'll be showing you how to do that at the end too. So let's all get started at the same place by clicking on the link in the video description below. Okay, so let's get to it. I'm going to start off on the Wix Studio site, as you should be now, and I'm just going to start creating, okay? So all I'm going to do is log back in. You may need to sign up. It's up to you whether you've been here or not. This is the dashboard that you should see anyway. And let's get going. We're going to start off covering website builders and CMS. So let's go ahead and do it. Now, of course, there's lots of lovely studio templates. Let's go ahead and use one. So I'm just going to go ahead and explore all templates just to get going so we can really focus on the business side of things. So as we have a coaching site, I'm going to choose coaching. And let's go ahead and choose one. I mean, there is just so many to choose from. However, we want one that will allow us to take bookings. So let's go ahead and choose one for this. I'm going to choose this one right here. So a life coach. However, please feel free to adapt this to whatever you want. There's so many to choose from. If you want to be more of a business consultant, then you can do that too. So here we are. This is going to take more of an approach of us trying to get leads in order to sell tickets for our events. So great, please go ahead and click here. And once that is done, this is what the site should look like. So great, this is looking good. So once again, this is a website builder. You've got lots of templates to choose from, as well as a content management system. If you haven't heard of content management system before, or CMS, this is essentially what they look like. You can manage content with CMS. What this means is, instead of me going and finding an image, creating an element like this, adding information to each one, and then, it's kind of just put on the website. No, what we do is essentially create a table of all that information. We create a collection. So I'm just going to show you this very quickly. Say you have lots of past projects you worked on, for example, that you want to showcase. I would go ahead and select here. I'm just going to start with presets and our project. So I'm just going to add this just so I can show this to you and what I mean about the table of information. So this is going to create a separate page for us, which is going to show all of the projects that we have done as a life coach. So for example, here we have 6. You can change the name of this, you can change the description, and you've got the image for each one. So I'm just going to go ahead and put BGC Consulting Team Getaway. Okay, and then you can change the description of this. You can change this one too. So what's another life coach event? So TED Speaker Coaching 2023, for example. Maybe that's an event you did, and so on. And of course, please feel free to change the image. I would 100% do so. And great, all we have to do is shut that down, and all of those projects get mapped onto here. Okay, it really is that easy. Okay, so instead of, once again, uploading image, uploading the text, no, there's a collection. It's stored somewhere on here instead, and we can manage it. So it just makes our life a lot easier. And of course, we can manage this content. So here we can edit the content. You can choose to display on cards, a list, a slider, or grills. But also what is cool is that we can also filter this. So for example, if you want to only show events from 2024, you can create a filter that will filter that out and only show the 2024 projects on this section. Okay, so that's CMS in a nutshell. There's so much to do. Of course, we created projects. You can create a completely different collection. It's called a dynamic page data set. And if you click into each one, so let's go ahead and publish this. I'm just going to publish this very quickly so we can see what this looks like. Let's view the site. Let's go /projects. Okay, and if you click into each one, you basically get a show page of that one project, which is pretty cool. I really like this website. Okay, you can also change the slug. The slug is just, the final bit here of the URL to say whatever you wish. Of course, we just kept this as project name 01, but I imagine you might want to change that. So there we go. Now we can view my collection. Projects is what it's called. And once again, you can edit them, and that change will be reflected in every time you've used this projects collection in your website. So perhaps you've used it more than once. So here's where you change the URL or the slug. So you can just go ahead and call this BGC if you want and save. And that just means that the slug will be changed. Okay? Wonderful. So now let's have a look at this. Let's view the site. Let's once again go to projects. And if we click on this, ta-da, we've changed that URL. So now it says BGC. Amazing. So this is looking good. Okay, so we have covered website templates, website builders, and CMS in a quick nutshell. What I'm going to show you now is how to use the AI website builder too. Okay, so for this, if you want to do something completely different and you don't want to use a template, you can use an AI website builder. So what is cool about this is all you do is create a new site, and I'm going to go ahead and choose Studio Sitemaps and Wireframes, and here we're going to generate a site structure using AI. So all I would do is say coaching business, just like so, or coaching professional, and then we're going to describe it. Or you can complete the form with AI. So a dedicated coaching professional based in San Francisco, specializing in personal development career coaching to help individuals lock their full potential and achieve goals. So great, that is what we want. And we also want to get booked online, or to be more precise, host events. So we're going to essentially want to sell tickets to our events. So you can call this whatever you want, empowerment coaching solutions. You can obviously change the business location. You put in your target audience. So giving this more information will just make your site more customized to what you need. And you can even choose the tone of voice for generated text. So neutral, informative, sure, or professional, playful. It really is up to you. And then you would continue. Now, you can get the visual sitemap and wireframes or the visual sitemap only. I'm going to go visual sitemap and wireframes just so it gives us more to work with. And then I just add some images and of course change the text if I'm not happy with what's been generated for me. Okay, and great. So here's my sitemap and wireframes. Here is a great way to see everything that's on your site from a macro level. So this is the sitemap, and of course, this will require a lot more customization from you in terms of design. So it's up to you. You can go down this route, or you can go down the template route that I just showed you. Okay, I'm going to choose to go down the template route. I just wanted to take a quick side quest and show you this. Next, let's look at designing websites that convert leads. Okay, so now let's look at designing websites that convert leads. Now, what is great about the templates is that it's already kind of thought about this for us, meaning that all the call to actions and all the buttons have already been placed in all the right locations. So for example, right away here, we have a call to action to start now. That is a great place to start in order to get leads. So let's go ahead and publish this site once more. And I'm just going to go ahead and go to the main page. So if you click on the start now, ta-da, it straight away takes you to the newsletter so that you can subscribe. And then essentially what we do is get an email address in our database so that we can contact you, we can set up automations, and that's what we're going to look at now. Let's go ahead and sign up to the newsletter, sure. So I'm just going to do kuboania@gmail.com. Yes, subscribe me to your newsletter. And also let's start my transformation. So let's go with Ania Kubo kuboania@gmail.com, and I'm going to say I want the workshop. Excited, and submit. Okay, so I've just signed up to both, and now let's go back to the Wix editor. I'm just going to essentially click on my dashboard so that we can see those two contacts. Okay, so here we go, customers and leads, and I should show up as a customer and lead. So great, there I am, I have subscribed. And there are already some default automations set up, such as a welcome email, but you can of course create a whole email campaign, emailing them once, emailing them in a week, and so on. And of course, notifying them of any events. Another great way to get leads is with Google Ads. So here is an option that will walk you through setting up Google Ads in Wix Studio. So let's go ahead and click on that. And essentially you can advertise on Google. This is what an ad will look like. That is another great option for getting leads to your database. Okay, so this essentially will take you through all the steps. I'm just going to leave it at that. Some other great ways of getting leads are, of course, Facebook and Instagram ads. Again, you will get some support in creating that in the Wix Studio itself. Email marketing is one that we've already touched on, and I will go more into automations later. Social media marketing as well. So here we can even get started with an AI planner, which will essentially plan out whole weeks for you, so you can do all your work in bulk without lifting a finger later on. And finally, we also have a referral program, which is great for, if people want to make a bit more extra cash, you can give them a referral code. So this can all be set up and managed from in here. Okay, so you essentially get your past clients working as referrals to your services. Great. So all these great features are available to you on how to get leads, how to then nurture the leads you have as well. Okay, so now that we've covered how to convert leads, let's look at booking and scheduling automation next. Okay, so now let's look at booking and scheduling automation. So as we know, we are trying to get tickets sold for our events. Let's go back to our site. So if you go to my business, here is what we have. We have Wix events and tickets. This essentially is what we want to do. Let's go ahead and create our first event. So let's go ahead and click that button right there so we can create it. So we already have some here. So achieving work-life harmony, reach your full potential, mindfulness, and stress management. So here are some events that essentially we would want to sell tickets for. We can create our own, or we can just go ahead and manage some of these. So let's go ahead and manage one. I'm just going to show you what one looks like. So of course we have the event link. We've set the date and time, the location, event type ticketed. You can choose an image there too. You can have a customized checkout form. That is an option as well. And we can choose how to accept payments. So of course we will want to add a payment method, and we'll do that later on. Now we also have this suggested for us, so we can add a seating map. So that is quite cool. We can design a floor plan and let our guests reserve their seats. So essentially this is definitely what you will see when you go to a concert. I really, really love it. We're not gonna have our event this big though, so I don't really think we need it, but if you are going for a huge, huge event, this will be great. Some other options for us are a custom registration form, promoting events, and offer coupons, which we will not be using. So far we don't have any guests. We can start inviting them or adding them manually. The tickets we have are early bird right here, and then just the normal price. Of course, you can edit those. We can get the invoices to be sent. For that, we just need to add our business info. So let's go with Rudy Events and rudy@rudy.com. Add and continue. So now invoice will be sent from that email address. It really is that easy. Okay, so great. Of course, we don't have any orders at the moment, but that's part of the job. Okay, so now that we have our events, we can, like I said, add more. However, let's look at customized automated emails next. So for this, we're going to use the new automation builder, which essentially can set up any automation that we want. This is what it looks like. So let's go ahead and create a new automation. So this just means that we're going to go down to automations right here. We can get started with a template. So for example, let's use this one. So send thank you emails to guests who buy event tickets. Okay, so the way this works is there is a trigger and an action. So the trigger here is ticket ordered, that is great, and the action is sent email. So we can edit this. So for example, here we get to send an email. We can choose to put the sender's name and the reply to email. I can edit this. So by clicking edit here, I can edit the sender's name. So I can go Anya and then the reply to email as well. So I can choose to keep that and save. So I'm just going to get a confirmation code get sent to my private email address. This is what it looks like. So I'm going to copy that and I'm just going to paste it in like so. And now everything is set up. Wonderful. So that is looking good. So I've just changed that, and then we can also edit the email itself. So here is just the generic one that shows up. Thank you for getting tickets to, and this is the syntax for picking out things that, you know, are custom to our site. So for example, event title is just the event title that that client has purchased. And then we can also have some fallback text if that doesn't work. So our event. Okay, that looks good. You are going to, and the event title they bought. We can even use their name if we wish, like anything is possible. So we are looking forward to seeing you there. All you'd have to do is go add personalized text, and then we can get the guest's first name, and then no fallback text there if we don't want. And what is cool about this is that the image is even dynamic and based on the event image too. So it is really obvious what event the client bought a ticket for. Amazing. So we can also send a preview and test this out, and ta-da! So thank you for getting a ticket to classical piano concert. You're going to classical piano concert. We look forward to seeing you there, Jamie. Amazing. And an image of classical piano concert will show up if there is one there. Great. So that is a great automation that I would definitely have. Let's go back to our automations. Okay, so we can finish there, or we can then choose to do other things. So there could be a condition here or a delay. It is really up to you. A condition simply means that if perhaps there's a bounce, do something, or if the email gets sent, do something else. You can actually move that above here as well. So for example, if you want to delete that, if a ticket is ordered, then we get a condition, check if perhaps the event title is exactly, and then we have the event name of Achieving Work-Life Harmony, then you send a specific email. So the action would be to send an email. Else, if it's another event, then you want to send a push notification. It really is up to you. There is so much fun to be had with this automation tool. Great. And then you would simply activate it. Okay, so that's it for booking and scheduling automation. Let's look at payment processing and subscriptions next. Okay, so now let's look at payment options and subscriptions that you can have in Wix Studio. So for this, I am going to go back to my business, my events and tickets, and manage my events. Okay, so here we are, of course, we have our events here. Let's focus on getting paid. So here you'd actually have to connect and set up your payment methods. So let's go ahead and click that. You can connect to Stripe, but this is a great way to accept credit cards, debit card payments. And you can also have PayPal, which allows you to take PayPal payments as well as manual payments. So accepting cash and check. I wouldn't really recommend this for ticketed events because, you know, you want to sell the tickets before so you know or have an idea of how many people are coming. But each to their own, it really is up to you. And you can also see more payment options as well. So Google Pay, Apple Pay is a great one, Xena. And this really does depend on the kind of location you are in. Okay, so many wonderful, wonderful options to choose from. You will have to set each one up individually, which will take some time. I'm not going to go through that here, but this is definitely something that you will need to do. So once that is done, you will be able to take payment on your site, and you will also be able to customize your invoices, quotes, and so on. So for example, here we go, invoices. You can create an image for here. You can change the header details, the business info, the tax display, and everything else that you need. So this is great. This is also set up as an automation if you wish. Payment links is also a great one, so that you can send payment links to individuals to get paid also. Okay, so you can request money for your products, services, events, and more. So once again, this will require some setting up. All you do is create a link, so you can go ahead and go one-off payment link. You can set the price that you want to get paid, and you can add a description, which is optional, and an item image too, and create that payment link. Okay, you will need to upgrade to use this feature, but it's a great one to, send links and get paid all in one place. Wonderful. Another thing to check out is the POS checkout. This is something that you might want to do if you are selling tickets at a in-person event. Okay, so you're there, you're at a store, you're like, hey, come to my event. Well, you can take the payment right there and there through the POS checkout system. So for example, you could, set the ticket price here, so add to cart, and then you would simply charge the client like so. Okay, you could take cash there and then, or of course you would set up the payments in order to get this going too. So Stripe definitely in order to take credit card payments. Great. I love it. And of course, all your sales can be managed from this one platform. All your sales, so whether someone paid with PayPal, Stripe, cash, you can see all the payments here as a macro level of your business. And of course, a sales overview too. So this dashboard is great for seeing where your sales came from, whether they were direct, from Google, from Wix email marketing, from Google paid, Facebook paid, and so on. You can also see your top selling items. So this is a quick way to see which events are the most popular for you, which could be some great insight into future events that you want to put on. And you could also see the sales by billing location. So for example, if people are buying your tickets from all over the world, where are they buying them from? You will see that here. You also have a new versus returning system there too. This really is great, and you can view it by a time period, which is really, really helpful too. One thing you can do, and you probably don't really want to do this for events, is set up subscriptions. So if, for example, you have a yoga studio, a person could choose to just buy a one-off class for you or subscribe to your services in which they get a subscription model that you also have the option to customize. This is great for SaaS products. Here is just a quick overview of what that would look like. Perhaps this is an approach that you want to take on as well. You can add this to your offering of events if you wish. So have events and then also, some classes that you offer on a subscription model as well. Okay, so I hope that covers it. Please feel free to dive in deeper. Let's move on. Now let's look at performance analytics and reporting. So we've already looked at the sales performance. One other thing we can do is just look at the site analytics in general. So this is very in-depth. You can, of course, view where your visitors are viewing you from. So here again, we have sessions by locations, our top traffic sources, so whether people are coming direct or from Google ads, Facebook ads, and so on. Once you set that up, you can also even see which pages are visited the most by session, track button clicks on your site. For that, you need to enable click tracking and analyze marketing performance. So once you do set up your email automations and once you do set up your traffic with paid ads, this will essentially populate with more data for you to analyze. Okay? So this is something that I would definitely recommend setting up properly, because once it is set up properly, you'll have a great overview of your clients, where they're coming from, and how to target them again. If you are finding this difficult, you can obviously ask AI, so what was my site's bounce rate this year? And the AI will generate this for you. There won't be much for me to show you right now, so I'm not going to do this, but it really is that easy. Okay, so how much time do people spend on my site? At the moment, of course, it won't be much, but just so you see what the chat bot looks like. Amazing. And then you can go ahead and open the report. This is great. You can also set alerts and emails to notify yourself of things and events. So essentially any triggers that happen in here, if you suddenly get lots of people coming to your site, you'd probably want an alert for that. This is where to set that up. So we have the highlights. We also have real time. So at the moment we have one real-time visitor, that is me, and I am in Dubai, that is correct, and I am viewing it on desktop. So this is pretty accurate to me. You also have the traffic. So once again, how people are coming to you. Was it Google Organic, Google Ads, Facebook, and so on. Sessions by device. So this will tell you if people are visiting you from mobile or desktop, unique visitors, and of course, sessions by country. Behavior is an interesting one as well, in which you can enable click tracking, which means that essentially you'll be able to see which buttons get clicked on the most on your site. This is great, as it will show you which call to action buttons are working the best for you. Perhaps you want to optimize them, but also perhaps show you which events are the most interacted with. Perhaps there's a drop-off rate of like people clicking on one event lots but not buying it, or clicking on one event less, but the conversion rate for buying them is higher. Who knows? There's so much you can essentially get. So gather all the data that you can, and then you can always ask AI to help you analyze this data, but you can't do anything unless you have all the data, so get all the data first. We of course have marketing, which will help you get a better view of how your marketing campaigns are doing, whether it's email automation or something else. You also have something called session recording. This is essentially a feature within Wix Analytics that allows website owners to record and replay user interactions on their site. Okay, so essentially how someone used something. This is great. This feature provides visual insights into how visitors navigate, interact with elements, and even experience the website itself. So essentially it will help you identify usability issues and areas for improvement. Okay, so essentially by going in and seeing how a user clicked on things, perhaps, you know, they went back and forth a few times. This is such great insight. What a great feature to have. Okay, and finally you have all your reports. So you've got your sales over time, traffic, subscriptions, events, blogs, marketing, SEO, behavior, mobile apps, people, accounting, and so much more. Great, I think it's time to move on. Okay, so I just want to quickly talk about wireframes for websites. You could have started this website from a wireframe, kind of like the AI generated one we saw earlier. Or if you like this, but would kind of like to create your own elements with some guidance, you can add in wireframe elements too. So all you need to do is go here, and you can just add in a new image. So just like that to this section. Or you can add in whole sections like this. So these already, of course, have branding or wireframes. So you've got a hero element here. You have cards, you have spotlight, you have slideshow, you have text. Let's just go ahead and select text. So there we go. That has been added here. So this is more of a wireframe. It just gives you guidance into the layout. It's already thought about where the call to action button should go, where the text should go, that it should be centered, and so on. And of course you can customize it. If you don't know where this is put, you can move it down. So simply by dragging and dropping it here. And of course you can see the elements that make it up too. So that About Me section or wireframe is made up of a stack that has some vector art, a title, paragraph, and of course the button. Okay, and if I don't like it, I just delete it. It really is that easy. This is of course fully customizable. I'm not going to go into the customization of this, as this is more about the business aspect. What I am going to do, however, is show you how to add custom code next for those who are interested. Okay, so now let's move on to talking about website custom code. So this is completely optional. Right now we've been doing everything with no code, but for those of you who are interested in how to add in custom code, I'm going to show you how. So all you're going to do is click on this button code and start coding. Let's start with an example. So here we go. Here we can get started right here. Let's start coding. Okay, so here we go. We are on the home page. This is essentially where we're going to be doing the coding. We're going to be using the Velo framework. If you don't know much about it, you can check out the documentation by visiting this link. It will give you all the syntax, all the functions that you can use, and so on. I'm going to show you one now. So of course, a super simple example, I'm just going to use this one here. You can actually, just going to minimize this. You can do this on your Wix IDE. So this will be more familiar to those who, have used VS Code or WebStorm, as it will look very familiar to you in this layout, but you can't really see what is going on. You might have to switch back and forth. So it really is up to you. Whichever way you prefer working, that is totally fine. The Wix IDE, well, you will be able to see all the pages. It won't have much code there because you're essentially going to add your own. So like we are here on the home page. So here we are on the home page. I can go into sources, pages, home page, and then I can add code, making sure to follow the Velo documentation in order to do so. Great, but I'm not going to be using this. I am going to be using it here. So I'm just going to start coding in here. And first of all, let's do something super simple. So the syntax for this is, we are going to use the $W like that, and then we're going to pick out an element. So picking out an element is easy. You just click on it like so, and this is called hash section 1. If you want to view it better, it's here, hash section 1. So there we go. And what's the text in here? This is text 22. So I can go hash text 22, and then I could go text equals, and I can change it to Anya instead of Rudy Lagarde. Okay, so I would just run that just to preview what it looks like. Okay, and there we go. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so that is just a very basic example and syntax for using Velo. Another function that I'm going to show you how to do is this right here. So we're going to import authentication for Wix members front end. And essentially, if we are logged in as a user, we're going to take this text. Okay, so text 22. So if logged in, it's going to say your friend Anya, because you know me already. However, if we're not logged in, it's going to say your new guru, Anya. So that's all we're going to do. I'm going to run this, and actually I'm going to publish this too, so we can see it on an actual site. So let's go ahead and view. And it says your new guru, Anya. Although I admit this might need some magic to make it a little bit smaller. So CSS will be required. However, if you log in, so let's sign up with Google. So this is me signing up as a client, one of your potential clients. It will say your friend Anya. So literally looks wonderful. I'm so happy with that. I love it. So I am just going to change this as it is very big. Maybe let's go with 90. And it just means that when I view this here, it should just be a lot better to see. So you should be able to see the full thing. So your friend Anya, and let's log out. Your new guru, Anya. I love it. Okay, so that wraps up the custom code part of this. Hopefully I showed you how to do a little bit of custom functionality. Of course, the world is your oyster. Please make sure to check out the Velo documentation in order to become a Velo coding whiz. Okay, so that's really it from me. I hope I really covered a lot of the business aspect of building some of these sites. I didn't want to focus on, the templates. This is really more about the back-end stuff. I hope it was useful. If I didn't cover anything, please do let me know in the comment section below. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. Once again, this is everything that we have covered in this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you again soon.